Peace, Love, Liberty Radio version 4.1. Initializing upgrades. Accessing peace. Existing without violence, with the ability to calmly resolve conflict. Downloading love, an overwhelming, deep, positive affection towards others. Activating liberty. Living your life as you see fit without infringing on the lives of others.
Ashes to ashes, we're falling down. Slaves to the men that stole the crown. There's a warning sign, like a blazing sun. You don't want to see because you're having fun. Those who control all the information celebrate and lie to the people to keep them watching.
Hey, welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at FPPRadio.com. I am your host, Darryl W. Perry. This is episode 360. 360 episodes of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. And yes, it's already been almost 4 weeks since episode 350. Can you believe it? I can't. Where does the time go? Well, as I said a couple of weeks ago, well, there is no such thing as time in sort of the abstract, right? So there's only the present. There is no future. There is no past. There's only the present. Now, because the present is always changing, that then does mean that there is a past and that there is a future. But it's all kind of, in this sort of weird metaphysical sort of way. It's just now. But because the way our brains process things, we can only ever process the past. Yeah, it's kind of weird, right? Yes, it is, and I have no clue why I'm talking about the past or the present or the non-existent future, because that has absolutely nothing to do with what I'm going to be talking about the rest of the show. And, I still don't know which one of these two articles I'm going to do, so I'm just going to flip between browsers here, or not browsers, but browser tabs for a second, and stop on 5 ways to get out of a funk. The other article that hopefully I'll be able to get to sometime during this episode, maybe not, because I do tend to go off on these sort of tangents a little bit, and it takes me the entire show to get through a single article, but it's about how talking to yourself improves brain function. And it's something that I do a lot. Actually, I'm doing it right now. Even though, yes, I am talking to you, but as I do this show, I'm the only person in the area where I am. Now, it depends on how you define area, but, I'm not sitting here having a conversation with another actual physical person. I'm sitting here, there's a little, person in my head that I talk to. It's a radio trick that I learned 20 years ago, is you picture a single person in your head, and you talk to that person. Now, some people, and I don't know if people still do this, but when I went to college, I was told, if you need help, practicing speaking to this one person, because that's really, you're speaking to one person. Certainly there are going to be, hundreds of people that listen to this, possibly thousands, but I'm speaking to one person. I'm speaking to you. But in my brain, there's, this little person that I talk to. And every now and then the person will talk back. I don't actually have a name for this person. Rush Limbaugh has a name for the person that he talks to, Snurdly. Snurdly is the little voice inside Rush Limbaugh's head. But what I was told in college almost 20 years ago is if you need help visualizing somebody, just put a picture of somebody that you know somewhere near the what's called the board. And a lot of podcasts don't necessarily have a board. I've got a USB cable that plugs directly into my microphone. No, it's not a USB microphone. It's a USB to SLR cable. So I've just got a regular microphone, like the type that rock musicians would use, that they've got the cord plugged into. Well, it's not the exact same, but you know what I'm saying. And, this cord basically turns any professional microphone into a USB microphone. But I could, just as easily have a picture set up down at the bottom of my laptop, and I'm talking to that person. But no, I've got this little person in my head that I talk to, and, they'll answer me occasionally. Not often, but every now and then. But no, it's not this, Daryl's crazy and needs to go to the shrink type of, talking to himself or the inner voice talking. No. I don't actually hear the voice. I know that it's, my own thoughts. So it's not a Daryl's crazy and needs to see a shrink sort of talking to himself thing. And you know what? Since I'm mentioning it, I will go ahead and jump into this article. No, I won't, because I said that I would talk about the other article, the 5 ways to get out of a funk. Thank you, little voice in my head, for reminding me. No, Daryl, you said you weren't going to talk about this. Talk about the other thing. And as a lot of my show prep for this show does, this comes from lifehack.org. And they say, do you have big dreams but find yourself struggling to get out of bed some days? You might be in a funk. The thing is, acknowledging that you're not happy is half of the battle. Despite what most people think, getting stuck in a funk does not have to be a bad thing. Being sad is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that there's room for growth. The next time you get stuck in a funk, don't get mad at yourself. Embrace the truth, which is it's a blessing in disguise. Acknowledge that it's up to you to fix it. That is number 1 on the 5 ways to get out of a funk. They say when things don't go your way, it's easy to put the blame on others and outside factors. You can come up with excuses like my coworkers keep interfering, or I always get selected last, or I can never catch a break. There's a little bit more here, including a story from the author of this article, and 4 other ways to get out of a funk that we will go over here in moments on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap, Spendabit, and Amazon at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com. The Doublespeak Dictionary by Leslie Starr O'Hara satirizes the marked difference between the ideal of we the people and the reality of we the elite, while offering an insightful glimpse into the clockworks of the totalitarian mind. Ever irreverent but never irrelevant, the Doublespeak Dictionary serves as a subversive and humorous but timely reminder that the emperor has no clothes. The Doublespeak Dictionary is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry, online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. I've got a question for you. No. The question isn't, are you in a funk? Or do you like to get funky? Or do you like the funky, fresh vibes of something? No. Has nothing to do with funks. It has to do with money. Actual money. Real money. Money that is actually created by value and not just, backed by the threat of force of the world's largest terrorist organization. I'm talking about Bitcoin. Do you advocate for free market money? Do you use Bitcoin? If so, then you need Spendabit. Spend-A-Bit is the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spend-A-Bit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Spend-A-Bit. Use my affiliate link, spendabit.fppradio.com. And if you're a Bitcoin-accepting merchant, like I am, ask about their merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.fppradio.com. That's spendabit.fppradio.com. So what happens if you are in a funk? How do you get out of the funk? And I've been there, and I don't think that I can actually articulate, what actually got me out of the funk. But every now and then, I still kind of do, but sometimes have been a lot worse than others. And I guess I can, give a lot of credit to having some really good friends that were helping me out at the time. And, well, the author of this article gives an anecdote about a friend of his, where he says, recently a good friend of mine and I were catching up over dinner. She mentioned how long she'd been struggling to get a job, interview after interview, and still no callbacks. The reason? She speculated that it's because she's overqualified. We could have spent the entire dinner speculating over why, but the why isn't the question that should be asked. It is what. In this case, what am I doing wrong and what can I do better? Or what can I do better at? And that question seems to have an extra word. The at, I don't think, should be there, but I digress. Only then, by acknowledging that there's room for improvement, can we talk about ways that she could actually wind up do things differently. No matter the situation, you have two choices. You can either spend your time making excuses or acknowledge responsibility and find solutions. You can't do both. And yes, even if the thing is not your fault, you still need to find solutions. Number 2 on the list, disconnect from your norm. Wake up, eat, commute, work, eat, work, commute, eat, sleep. Chances are you follow an iteration of this same schedule. Oftentimes we forget that we're humans and not robots, designed to do one thing over and 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 over again and repeat and over and over and over and over. If you find your days all beginning to look the same, you're susceptible to falling into a rut. Incorporating change in small ways can do wonders. Switch up your morning routine, change elements of your diet, try a new hobby, take a different route to work, change up your social media profile. All of these simple things can help you get out of a funk. Number 3, they say find positive people to be around. When you become an adult, you take on the responsibility for your own actions and choices. This includes the food you eat, the types of people you choose to hang out with. And if you eat bad, it impacts your health negatively. The same goes if you hang around negative people. They will inevitably rub off on you. Now, I understand that not everybody has 100% complete control over the people that they hang out with, because not everybody has the ability to, just because they don't like a couple of their coworkers, quit the job and find some other kind of work. Not everybody is self-employed. And when you're self-employed, a lot of times it's easier to control exactly who you hang around with. But in a lot of ways, work is like school, to where, you might decide you don't want to go to school, but you have to because of, reasons. Your parents might say, you have to go to school or we'll kick you out of the house. But Mom, I'm only 8. It doesn't matter. Those are the rules. Or, the government might say you have to go to school. With work, if you don't work, you don't pay your bills, you don't eat. Well, there are all kinds of welfare that help people that don't want to work or, for other reasons, decide that I would rather just be a leech off of society. But still, those people, through actions that they have taken, are then put in contact with people that they might not want to be in contact with. You might have really bad neighbors living in the welfare house. You might have, really bad neighbors because of whatever job you have and you can't afford a nicer place. So, yes, there are times where you can't control exactly who you're around, but you can, to some extent, control how much time you spend around them. Number 4, they say stop fighting reality. Just because something happens that we don't like doesn't mean it wasn't supposed to happen or that you can't turn the situation into a positive one. If you put yourself into a mindset that you're exactly where you need to be, your mindset shifts from reactive to active. You have to make consciousness decisions. Yes, that's what it says, but I believe they mean you have to make conscious decisions. Whether you want to spend your time reveling in the past, fussing over future problems that haven't happened yet, or even the journey that is today and now. No matter what you decide, the world continues to spin at a rate of 1,040 miles per hour, and your time on the planet continues to count down. Make good use of it. And number 5 here on the list of 5 ways to get out of a rut, they say map your success. If you've ever been on a trip where your GPS ran out of battery or you forgot a map altogether, you know how important navigational tools are. The same goes for goals in your life. Without a direction in mind, you'll end up going in circles. There's more to this article, but I'm not going to cover it here. I'm going to talk about talking to yourself. But as always, the link will be in the show notes. Stay tuned. There's more here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Hey, this is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends radio show. I've been working with computer programmer Derek Slopey to create Fiend Phone. I'm using Fiend Phone right now to talk with and record one of my co-hosts in real time. Take it, Davi.
Hey, this is Davi Barker, and I'm 1,000 miles away from Michael, but we sound like we're in the same room.
We sure do, Davi. So, Davi, please tell the nice people more about Fiend Phone.
Fiend Phone is free, open-source software that opens up a global world of possibilities for collaborative, high-quality remote voice media production, and I'm digging it.
People can try the Windows beta version of Fiend Phone right now at fiendphone.com. But we're also raising money to vastly improve Fiend Phone and vastly improve independent talk media worldwide.
So go to fiendphone.com to help out. Who will build the audio roads? We will, with your help.
That's fiendphone.com. FEENPHONE.com. Foxtrot, Echo, November, phone.com.
Fiend Phone. I never knew remote audio could be this good.
This is Paige Peterson from MaidSafe, and you're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Hey! Talking to yourself is not all bad. No. And it also doesn't mean you're crazy. Right, Darryl? Exactly. Just because Darryl talks to himself, sometimes in the third person, does not mean I'm crazy. I guarantee it. Article from Lifehack. They say that science actually explains how talking to yourself can improve your brain function. And, well, we pretty much all started off our life talking to ourselves. As children, we would talk to ourselves. We would speak out loud and direct internal conversations at ourselves. And, well, it might actually make us more intelligent if we continue to do it. Why do people talk to themselves in the first place? Well, if you imagine speaking to someone else to provide them with direction, speaking to yourself works in the same way. There are many reasons for self-directed speech, though most of us remind ourselves to focus on what we're doing, from looking for a pair of car keys to shopping for a particular item in the supermarket. Self-talk is all over the place. Directed internal or external thinking processes are significant because this behavior allows people to find things quicker, according to a study conducted by Gary Lupion and Daniel Swingley. They found that you can enhance your visual system to detect an item by hearing the name of the item. Thus, when you talk out loud, you're essentially cueing your system to get ready to perform better. Now, I know I've done this walking through the grocery store where I'll be looking for something, and instead of just, thinking coconut milk, I'll actually say coconut milk. Where is the... And somehow, I don't know how, but somehow speaking it helps the eyes. And have you ever noticed, and I realize that I'm diverting off on a tangent here, but that's what I do. Have you ever noticed that when you're driving to a place that you're not familiar with, or maybe you've been there once or twice, but you're not entirely, 100% confident of, what it is that you're looking for, you turn down the radio to then look at the street signs? And what that does is it allows your brain to focus, because then you're not, hearing all of this outside noise. Now, I remembered somebody saying one time, why do you turn down the radio? It doesn't help you see better. True, but it does help you focus. And that's kind of what the talking to yourself thing does, is it helps you focus. The goal of the study was to see if self-directed talk has an effect on what you visually process. This was done by giving 26 undergraduates, 13 men, 13 women, search tasks in a complex supermarket display. Lupyan, that's the guy that headed up the study, concluded that hearing the name of the items actually assisted with visual perception. Simply hearing the name of the item helped participants find the item better as opposed to only thinking about the item. It was found that you can cue your visual system to detect items better. Participants in the study had to look for common objects. The more the word was spoken aloud, differentiated from the object the participant was looking for, performance worsened. If precise labels were given, the participant's performance improved. Those little conversations you've had with yourself have been helping you all along. Next time you're looking for something, speak out loud and test if you find it faster than normal. Want to increase your brain function? They ask, make your brain perform better and do your bidding more easily by simply talking to yourself. Yes, that's it. Talk to yourself. The research suggests that doing it until it comes naturally to you will help you complete goals and tasks. The positive results of self-talk. You've heard it before. There are so many benefits to visualizing what you're looking to achieve. Things tend to go more according to plan if you've mapped out the plan in your mind beforehand. Seeing the goal accomplished in the mind's eye actually helps you manifest it in daily life. Now, there's a form of meditation that I forget the actual name of it, but there's a form of meditation to where you will sit down and you will visualize things that you want to happen in your life. And people that do this on a consistent basis swear that by visualizing the good things that they want to happen in their life, those good things happen. Now, I'm not going to go so far as to say that those things happened only because they visualized them, but I'm also not going to entirely discount that, if you visualize something and then you decide that you're going to take actions to make that thing happen, then yes, the chances of that happening increase. I could visualize all day, I'm going to win the lottery and be a multimillionaire, and I'm going to live on a beach, and there's going to be a hot blonde and a hot redhead and a hot brunette all living in my hut on my private island that has a moat. And yes, islands can have moats. The outer ring is called an atoll. I know things about landscape a little bit. So I can have my island with a moat, and I'm going to win the lottery. But if I never buy a lottery ticket, it's never going to happen. And even if I do buy a lottery ticket, chances are I'll never actually win the lottery. But if you visualize, I'm going to do XYZ to build my business, or XYZ to get a promotion, or XYZ to do Q, and you work towards it, then yes, things can happen. There's more in this article. It will be on, or in the show notes. The link, that is, will be in the show notes. Stay tuned.
When her plush and comfy life suddenly and unexpectedly fell apart, Brooke and her dog Cloud set out to defy the odds. If this is a man's world, as they say, living on the streets is no place for a young woman. One day she awoke in the redwood forest and realized she had become a hobo, and would ultimately come to know exactly what it means to survive. How to Be a Hobo by Brooke Willett is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? Will anybody care? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry, online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. You know, I don't talk a lot about Patreon. Now, what is Patreon? You'll hear me every now and then talk about the fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Well, Patreon is the platform that the fans program, by and large, runs through. Now, there are a couple of people that have donated to the fans program outside of Patreon, but the vast majority of the fans' funding comes through Patreon. Now, Patreon is this really cool site that it's more than just a payment processing. They allow me to very easily disseminate the ad-free versions of this podcast, Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, as well as the ad-free versions of the daily 5-minute newscast that I do, FPP Radio News. Now, there are some other perks that you get if you're in the fans program, or that you can get if you're in the fans program. And again, go to fans.fppradio.com to find out what those are. So when I send you the newspaper every month, if you're above the $3 mark of the fans program, well, I have to manually do that. That's not something that Patreon makes available. But one thing that, and I did not really know about this until listening to Brian Sovereign talk about it on one of his podcasts, Sovereign Tech, is that Patreon has this community aspect to it. So I can actually interact with the members of the fans program through Patreon. You can leave comments on the shows. You can send things in. There's a community tab, and you can, do basically like a forum sort of thing where ask me questions for the Ask Me Anything, because that's something I do every Wednesday. I answer your questions, and I will answer anything. A little over a year ago, I did a show about bee sex. The question was, how do bees have sex without stinging one another? And it was a very fascinating show. So go, find some of the old AMAs and listen. And yes, I will answer a question about anything. And yeah, I've not promoted that you can submit the questions for the AMA on Patreon, but I think I'm going to start doing that, because right now what I'll do is I'll post a thread on Twitter and Facebook and several of the Facebook pages that I have saying, hey, the Ask Me Anything's coming up, reply here or send an email, and then I've got to check like 5 different places, so I might just start doing AMA through Patreon. I don't know. So fans.fppradio.com, and don't forget that AMA coming up Wednesday. Send me your questions.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copy Heart, We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. Love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News, and also get a copy of the monthly newspaper FPP News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.